Justice for all. Justice under the law. Justice, Jamaica demand. Right to life, right to liberty. Justice for all. Justice under the law. Justice, the people demand. Right to life and security. Oh, what a joy. Oh, what a peace. How great this country could be. Respecting your rights. Respecting human rights. What a wonderful nation this could be. Out of many we are one in a Jamaica. Make it a better place for the boys and girls. Created equal by the creator. For equal rights and opportunities. No to unlawful detention and police brutalization. Class, gender, race or religion. We not tolerate discrimination. Justice for all. Justice.
Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Talk Justice. My name is Jade Williams and I am the Policy and Advocacy Officer at Jamaicans for Justice. See, I even mistitled myself Policy and Advocacy Specialist. So happy Tuesday. I'm here alone this week. Unfortunately, Mikkel is out. She is abroad doing some work for JFJ, so we will be seeing her back in May. So for the rest of the month, it will be myself. Occasionally, we will have a co-host that will be with me, but not this week. All right, so we're just going to get into the program, and we'll go first with our Human Rights Minute. So two things I want to mention this week. First things first. Our sectoral debates start today in Parliament. Well, our sectoral presentations start today in Parliament. So I would urge everyone, our listeners in particular, to be paying attention to what's being said in those debates, the policy issues that are jumping out at you all, and feel free to call into the program over the course of the presentations to discuss some of those issues with us on air. And then the second thing I'd like to mention is the 60th, the 60th anniversary of the Coral Gardens massacre. I think Mikkel mentioned it last week, but just mentioning it again, as we would have seen something come out in the Glino today or yesterday from the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society regarding how they felt their compensation and restitution was handled coming out of the Coral Gardens massacre. We do recall in 2017 an apology was issued by the government and there was a commitment made for the foundation to receive up to $10 million in restitutionary funds, which they have said they have been receiving. Some persons receiving $100,000 per month, while others receive $50,000 per month based on their injuries. But what I think the challenge is the lack of support towards the general community, which the society holds would have been affected by the trauma coming out of the event. So we hope to hear what kind of response the government can give to this criticism. It was a horrific set of events, and we would like to see some fulsome and satisfactory restitution given to the society. All right. So with that, we're going to go into our right of the day / did you know for today. And today we are going to be talking about the Protected Disclosure Act. So the Protected Disclosure Act exists to allow for persons to be able to make complaints about improper conduct that might be in the public interest. And under that act, employees are protected from what they call occupational detriment. And this means that where an employee makes a complaint of this nature, they should not be subject to disciplinary action. They should not be dismissed, suspended, demoted, harassed, intimidated, victimized, or any of those kinds of things. There's a whole list in the Act that speaks to what could be considered occupational detriment under Section 2. So if anybody is interested, you can go ahead and look at that. And our trivia for today, it's a half trivia because the question is quite easy. Our trivia question for today is, when was the Jamaica Accountability Meter portal founded? Yes. So that would have been a simple answer for you all to find. So this week, your credit prize will not be $1,000. It will be a mere $500. However, we hope that you can all participate. So today, we are going to be talking about government accountability. And we'll be joined a bit later in the program by Miss Jeanette Calder, who is the Executive Director of the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal. And when we talk about accountability, we are really talking about the obligation of those in power to take responsibility for their actions. And it requires that those being held to account explain their decisions and actions and acknowledge the rights of others to ensure that the rights of others to inquire about those decisions and actions. So JAMP, or the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, was established to assist with responding to some of those accountability gaps that came out of some reports in 2015. So they have developed certain tools that can be used to assist citizens in participating in the accountability process. And when Jeanette joins us, we would be asking her to explain what some of those tools are and how they can assist. But generally, we would be talking today about, for example, what role do citizens play in keeping their government accountable? What sort of processes can they engage to ensure that accountability? And is their participation even necessary for that accountability? So joining us is Miss Jeanette Calder, the Executive Director at JAMP. Jeanette, are you on?
Hi, Jade. Certainly. Good to be with you.
Hi. Okay, so just for our listeners, I just wanted to clarify some things about JAMP before we go to the break. I know one misconception I've heard is that JAMP is one of the government organizations. What can you say about that?
Well, that's quite a misunderstanding. I am a former public servant, and people are amazed when I say it, but I miss being a public servant. But my father reassured me when I took this on that I'm still serving the public.
Yes.
So I should take heart. But no, JAMP is a not-for-profit, and it's also referred to in a category called non-government organization. Mm-hmm. So it's run by citizens, private citizens, and we have been funded primarily by donor agencies, the European Union, taxpayers from Europe, and about 8 private sector companies in Jamaica gave us seed funding to begin. So no, we have no funds we receive from taxpayers. We're simply citizens in a non-government, not-for-profit context working for Jamaica. Have similar obligations and mandate to help, but not a government entity at all.
All right, great. So thank you for that clarity.
My pleasure.
So I know all about what JAMP does, but for the average citizen, when we say accountability, what is JAMP's role in that? What are you doing?
Well, I was struck one day, Jade. I was reading a document, and it was about government and public finances and funding, and it was a lady in India who was being interviewed, and she said she was talking about the national budget in India, and she said, whenever I raise my children, when I was raising my children, or anybody for that matter, and if I send them to the shop with my money, when they come back, they must either have what I asked them to buy, a receipt, or they have nothing and they give me back my money. So she said to the journalist, why is it when citizens give their money to government, we don't get a receipt and we don't know what the product is at the end of the year? And I never forgot that. I thought it was quite striking. This year we have a historic $1 trillion.
Yes.
That probably 98% of that is really coming out of our pockets, Jade, everybody listening. And at the end of that year, the question we had that kind of sparked a JAMP was, But we don't know what happened to that $1 trillion. We don't really get a report. We don't get a receipt per se that we can understand. So we were fascinated by that, one. And two, we were concerned about what Jamaicans call the 9-day wonder. And we got tired of seeing the headlines. We hear all the laws we have. We all have all of these big bad government institutions at the time, Contractor General, Auditor General, MOCA,
Yes,
FID.
yes.
But we kept seeing those headlines. And so JAMP was formed predominantly at the time to say, how can citizens get involved and track these things when they go wrong, to make sure that they go right and that we don't let it go after 9 days. Those were the two thoughts that gave birth to JAMP. Citizens paying attention, minding them business, as we always say, to make sure that the scandals become less, and also to get a better understanding of what happens to taxpayers' money so that we can get better value out of it.
All right. So I know that, so basically what you're saying is you saw the need for citizen participation in the mechanism of accountability. So
it's crucial. We're not going to get, Jade, listen, I'm a very hopeful individual. This is why I do what I do. You cannot be a pessimist and take on this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I am saying this definitively. You've said it. I just wanted to underscore it because you hit the nail on the head. I'm saying this. It is impossible for us to get a handle on waste, mismanagement, and theft without citizens getting involved. It's impossible. And that's why for 60 years, Jade, the headlines continue to look the same.
Yeah,
we're doing a lot, we're getting laws, we're getting institutions, and we keep wondering, so why it can't change? That's because the citizens, listen, the people who own the assets, the people whose money it is, the people who hire the parliamentarians, which is really the employers, you and I, are sitting outside the ring and expect the employees to get it right without us, the employers, involved. Now, which business can run successfully if the employer is not involved?
No, absolutely.
But we have none of them, right? But we have sat down for 60 years, Jade, expecting every time election come back around that we will be happy with the results of the last 4 years. We expected to get the results we want, but the employers are not showing up. And I'm saying there's nowhere that makes sense. So until we start to get involved and mind with business, Jade, accountability, it's not going to change without that.
Well, I appreciate that impassion, that impassion charge there for you, Jeanette. We are coming up on the break in about a minute. And when we come back from it, we are going to talk a bit about the tools that JAMP has available. I attended a lovely launch last year, I think, speaking about some of the tools that you developed. I know one of them is a budget tracking tool. One of them is an MP tracker, I think. So when we come back from the break, we'll go into those.
I'd be happy to.
The people's champion. Our mission is love. Our vision is love. Jamaicans for justice, the people's champion.
The future of advertising to the diaspora and Caribbean markets resides only on the bridge. Get on now. 876-669-5000.
Chasing purpose is a journey of self-love, self-development, healing, and spirituality.
When you feel like giving up.
Our talk show aims to empower, inspire, and uplift through thought-provoking conversations. Guided by our 4 pillars: nurturing faith, setting intentions, pursuing aspirations, all while we are living boldly.
Every time I feel can't do no different. Swear me out for win.
Won't you join us Wednesday, 10 a.m. to midday for Chasing Purpose, where we sow seeds others will benefit from.
Rights we should all know. If any member of the security force hits you, abuses you,
refuses to give you your phone call or otherwise violates your rights, complain to the police on duty, the JP who visits the lockup, the public defender, the Inspectorate of Constabulary, or the police at the station. With every right, there is a responsibility.
Brought to you by the Office of the Public Defender.
Oh, come, you and me, let's break free from these mental chains.
Yes, every Thursday, come, let's untangle.
Free up the fear, because enough fear around the place, and now we want to untangle the fear, untangle all kind of negative activity.
With your mid-morning radio queen, Mama Elise Kelly, every Thursday at 10 a.m.
So here what we want you to do now. We want to know to show up as we are.
That's Untangle with Elise Kelly on the Bridge 99 FM.
You don't know it's the Bridge 99 FM. Keep it locked, dirty.
The people's champion. Our mission is love. Our vision is love. Jamaicans for justice. The people's champion.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Justice. We are joined today by Jeanette Calder from the Jamaica Accountability Meetup Portal, and we are talking about government accountability. So, Jeanette, before we left, you spoke about citizen participation, and I think one of the challenges that citizens might have is not understanding how they can participate, right? So how do you think JAMP's tools can help? And even outside of JAMP's tools, what can we as citizens do to be more involved in the accountability process?
Well, the first thing I believe, Jade, is that we have to get some understanding. Mm-hmm. Anybody listening to us right now who earns a living had to get some understanding to be able to achieve any kind of goal. Mechanic had to get some understanding. The doctor, the butcher have to really know how to chop up that meat and clean and slice it and get it right. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't change. I see this role as citizenship as a job. Mm-hmm. Largely, as I said before, I am the employer, and we have employed 63 plus 21, 84 parliamentarians to do a job. Now, when you're an employer, Jade, the truth is it's very difficult if you don't understand what your employees are to do, because how are you going to oversee somebody who know more than you? And you know how it goes. Employees can take advantage of that, and they do when they know more than the boss. So the first thing you need is to get a sense and an understanding of what really goes on in Parliament. It's not complicated. What it was boring as tail when I did not understand what was happening. You put me in front of that for half an hour, Jade, I'd be out cold, right?
No, I agree. And, just through my university experience, when they were really trying to make us well-rounded and forcing us to go to Parliament, it was the most tedious part of my...
I'm telling you, my father one year, maybe when I was around 14, put me to sit down, and I don't think I lasted 15 minutes. However, you cannot find a space more fascinating for me now. And what is the difference? When you understand something, then things are making sense. And when it's making sense, your mind is working, the questions are coming, And then once the questions are coming, then citizens have something to act on. So the thing is, go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was just going to ask you, we had a conversation last week about the implementation of the new civics curriculum. Do you think that would help in any way to address this problem?
It is a good starter, but it's not going to be enough. And I'll quickly tell you why. Mm-hmm. I received the civics when I was in high school. I am from the era where that was the case. Mm-hmm. But if you take a look around at my cohorts and ask me what kind of engagement and what kind of thing they're doing, the answer will be the same as the people who know nothing. You're with me, Jade?
Yes.
So getting civics is not enough. Telling me how many people in Parliament and who appoint them and what is a parliamentary term, and that is good, but it's not enough. Let me tell you where the difference is made. It's something called relevance. And I find that when we were taught civics, we weren't taught relevance. We got some facts to learn. Yes?
Yes.
How many ministries are there? How many parishes? What is the difference between an upper and a lower house? Jade, that is not relevance. That is facts.
Yeah.
So I would have to look at the civics curriculum now to really be able to tell, have we done it better than they did in the 80s when I was in high school? And that is what would determine if it is going to make a difference. Other than that, it's just facts for students pass another exam. And relevance means once I started to understand the parliament, and it's not a whole heap you need to understand, but once I got the basics down, when I turn on the news at 7 o'clock, it was a whole new world. I had relevance now. Yes?
Yes.
So that is the difference. So I'm excited about it. I would love to see what it looks like, but that in and of itself would not be sufficient. Yeah. The other thing is that civics without telling citizens what power they have is irrelevant. Yes. If you're just going to give me the facts about what you, the MP, do, but you don't tell me what are the entry points for me to do something, then Jade, how are you going to get participation?
No,
because you're locked down on the door. Yeah, you need to show me what is the door to influence the parliament. That is when citizens going to get excited. So we go back to the information point and say, you are here running a radio show and you need certain resources to get it done. You need a mic, you need an audio team. People keep saying to citizens, you have to get involved, but they don't tell citizens where the tools are.
Yes.
So how are we going to do it again? That's another roadblock. So JAMP said, what are the things they would need? The citizen would need two main things. A whole heap of citizens walking around wanting to participate. Jamaicans are not apathetic, you know.
Yeah, no.
I was walking around for 8 years, burning inside before I could figure out what's the first step I could take. And there are a lot of Jeanettes out there. So the two things I would start with is, one, basic information has to be accessible. Everybody in a job right now, Jade, you needed information to prepare for this interview, no so?
Of course.
Absolutely. And everybody on a job right now is depending on information. Doctor, teacher, mechanic, you name it. So citizens who are going to have to oversee them own a business need access to information. So JAMP's website is now providing some basic, crucial information for citizens to really behave like they're the employers and the owners of Jamaica. That's one. Two, the next thing you want is not just information. I will get a whole bag of information out of Gleaner and Observer and Herald every week, every day. But if you don't know Jade, if you have a concern, and if you don't know who to contact, then what's the point to tell me all of this information here for now? Make sense?
Absolutely.
Right.
So it's information that you can't act on.
Absolutely. So now, after you give folks the information on our digital toolbox or website, we had to now ensure that citizens could easily, one, ask a question. If you're listening now and your supervisor passed you and they have a concern and it's about you and it's not you they're going to ask, they need to know who you report to go to the other supervisor to ask a question. Same way, citizens see a problem in the papers, on the news, on our website. Who am I going to ask this question of? So JAMP has created a very important tool called the Access to Information tool, which allows any citizen who has a governance question. Let me repeat that. I never say a question for the government. It's a different thing.
Yes.
I have a feeling people go and get questions about birth certificate and RGD coming through the site, Jane, but that's not what it's for. It's about a governance question.
So just to clarify, what does a governance question sound like?
Different from a government question, a good one. So governance is really about the process that the government and the parliament takes to make decisions on behalf of the people of Jamaica. So, for example, if we're going to build a school my favorite, if we're going to build a hospital in Portmore that is in such dire need of one, the question of who is going to get this contract and by what means is a governance question. Procurement, which is how we spend the public's money, how we make decisions on behalf of the country, is governance. And if you wanted to break it down further, people say if it's good governance, it means certain things. It means that decision process must be transparent. So if you're going to give Bridge 99, the contract, it must be obvious how come Bridge got it, but not another company. So it must be transparent. The other thing is that government has to be responsive. That's how you know you're getting good governance. So if you ask a question about the contract, and if government is quick to respond because it's your money, it means that you're getting good governance, Jade, because it's what? The government is responsive. The other third one, I won't go into all 8, but the other third one is rule of law. You have good governance in countries where you have something called the law that the government itself, the parliament, and the people will respect. You have places where there's law, but the government considers itself above it. So that is good governance. And no, let me give you one more. Accountability. So accountability in good governance is, let us say somebody did Jim Screechy and gave that contract in a way it should not have been given, and it is now discovered. Is good governance now, Jade, when you have accountability, means that something went wrong and somebody will be held responsible. So those are like 4 principles of good governance. So a governance question would be anything that has to do with the process of making decisions for the people of Jamaica, and you have a question about that. That's a governance question.
And you're saying
question now is anything to do with government. So that could be, boy, I need my birth certificate. Boy, my water lock off on yesterday.
All general inquiries then.
All that, which is not what the site is for. Those are different. So JAMP is saying we've done 2 things on the website. We're giving you information about your business, your employees, and we're giving you an avenue to contact accountable and responsible officers so you can follow up. And that is how you make a difference. You get the information and you yourself can track down which MP, which public official, which permanent secretary, without having to scratch your head and wonder who to talk to.
Okay, and that is your ATI tool. So is
our ATI tool, yeah.
So is the tool, have you seen engagement with it?
Well, this tool was only birthed, as you referenced, Jade, in December. And JAMP had to take a pause. This is just to share how the NGO world goes. Our project is sponsored mainly by the European Union. So that contract came to an end. A 3.5-year support came to an end in December. And we have only just begun the second contract. So we were out of commission for a little while.
Okay.
So now we are gearing back up to go out and engage citizens and tell everybody. You know what I hear all the time, Jade? Every time I talk about JAMP, to people go, "Oh, we never hear about that. That song, but we never hear about that before."
Yes.
Yeah, man, get that a lot. So the most important thing for JAMP this year and next year in our programmatic activities is we build something good for Jamaica, but Jamaicans don't know it exists.
Right.
So we're gearing up to get out, and talking to you is really good for us because it gives me an opportunity to do that. So no, there hasn't been a lot of use of this tool. It's brand new, but we're inviting everybody to come and take a look-see.
Okay, so we're coming up on our next break, but I would ask you to stay with us just for a little more. And when we come back, I do want to talk about some of the other tools that you have on your website. And we would be, for those who are watching on YouTube, you would be able to see some of what we're talking about on our YouTube channel. So we'll take the break.
The people's champion. Our mission is love. Our vision is love. Jamaicans for justice. The people's champion.
A wing is a win. Enjoy a KFC Hot Wings 5-piece combo or 25-piece party bucket today. KFC, it's finger licking good. The time by KFC is
1:30.
I put it down on the wrong one.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Sex.
On the bridge?
Every Tuesday at 10 p.m.
We talk about the forbidden, the inevitable, the truth. Nothing is untouched. It's live with me, dancehall queen Carlene.
Download the Bridge app, be on the 99, and tune in this Tuesday after dark.
The conversation is intellectual and maybe tantric, but always entertaining as we hear from the expert and you.
SOB, this Tuesday at 10 p.m.
Yeah, this is Angie from Gardertown. In the square, right at Miss Lou's statue. Come check out Kentucky Drinking Salon with the top shelf liquor them. See them like how you see the bridge, 99 FM to the world.
want to do a test, come to Jassel, we're the best. HIV and syphilis test. If you want to do a test, come to Jassel, we're the best. HIV and syphilis test.
To get tested today, contact Jamaica AIDS Support for Life at 876-925-0021.
A message from the Jamaica AIDS Support for Life with the kind support of USAID from the American people.
Everybody at a new job will call you Shane from accounts all week when your real name Sean from admin. But somebody just handed you delicious KFC hot wings that were dropped off for Shane from accounts. A wing is a win. Enjoy a KFC hot wings 5-piece combo or 25-piece party bucket today. KFC, it's finger licking good.
The people's champion. Our mission is love. Our vision is love. Jamaicans for justice. The people's
Welcome back to Let's Talk Justice. We are joined by Jeanette Caldo, and we are about to go into some of JAMP's other tools outside of their ATI request tool. So, Jeanette, I am very interested in, for example, the MP tracker, because I'm a person that has always been challenged in identifying all of the MPs in Jamaica. So what does that tool do for us?
Well, I don't know if I am up on YouTube. Just let me know when I am. Okay, great.
Yes,
so the MP tracker, well, it's a little disgraceful, but at the same time, something we're proud of being able to do. I say disgraceful because in 2023, after 60 years, there is no website anywhere on government, parliament, the parties' web pages where citizens can just tell who is my MP and where can I find them. So, for instance, if I were to click here and say MP Tufton, if you had just put his name in, if you couldn't find him, it takes you to what we call an MP profile page. You see under this lovely photo 4 different ways of contacting the MP.
Wow.
The envelope is email, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. But very, very importantly, it tells you where you can find him. And if not, at least the mailbox. And very importantly, the phone number. So I tell you something, Jade, if you ever know how long it took JAMP to just collect the data for where the constituency offices are, you would be surprised, but it took a while. Now, remember, these are offices that we are covering the rent, meaning the people of Jamaica. You know?
Yes.
Rent, the water, the light, and the secretary, but we don't know where they are. So JAMP, most people discover our website by Googling their MP to find them, and it brings them to a page like this.
Okay.
We think attendance is crucial. Your MP can't do much for you. Let me just put in an MP that I know I have a lot of information on because he makes a lot about his work, very transparent. But if I went to, say, MP Julian Robinson, for example, we give you a little bit about him. We won't go into it. You can see it. But I think everybody should get a little bit of information on who they are.
Absolutely.
And you see what his attendance in the house is like. 87% that year, going up to 93. And we're going to be adding this soon. If he was on the PAC, you would see what his attendance is as well.
Yes,
we want to let you... Go ahead, Jade.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great tool because I think one of the challenges is just like knowing what's happening with your MP. I think a lot of persons, they have no clue what is happening.
No clue.
Don't even know who their MP is some of the times.
They don't. I play that every time I'm driving through Jamaica and I see something that concerns me. I pull over and I said, who's your MP? And you'd be surprised how many times people can't tell me who it is. Yes. But this is how you start getting them interested. So we say, let us start with the CDF. Every constituency is allocated 20 million for assistance in 6 different categories. So JAMP says, well, let us collect the reports on what they're doing so people can see. So you have here 5 years worth of report. If you open it up, you'll get an idea as to what the MP has been doing for you. When election time comes, you could look at this and determine whether or not this is a working MP or not.
Yes.
So we're trying to shift from the party line to who is working for the people and vote for them. So this is one way of giving information. We have a video here that will tell you a little bit more about the CDF. So you guys can explore that. whether or not they're meeting with the constituents. You're not supposed to get the CDF money if you don't meet at least once per year. So you can see this is 3 out of 5 for the MP. And this is an anti-corruption effort where, MPs have to declare what they own every year. And if 1 year you own a big boat and you can't say how you buy the boat, you're in trouble. So this is where we track whether or not there are any offenses under that. So that's the MP tracker. Are you attending Parliament to represent the people? What's happening at the constituency level and what is happening in anti-corruption?
It seems so basic, but it can really bring...
Very important.
Yeah, it can really bring you to some action because, as you said, if you feel like your MP is not working, this is a good way to evidence that.
Right. And it's not always easy for JAMP to get these reports. So we've been saying to citizens, help us.
Mm-hmm.
If you know it's your MP, he's quicker to give you than JAMP in Kingston. If you're down in Southeast St. Elizabeth, if the citizens are asking, ask them and then email it to JAMP. Jade, help us out a little bit with this effort we have here.
Absolutely.
So that's how this works. Which other one would you like to hear about?
Or your legislative tracker, please.
The legislative tracker is one that's really trying to make it simpler for people to understand what is happening in Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
See this little thing up here that says send a note to Parliament, Jade?
Yes.
If you're ever watching the news and you see something that happened and you want to ask a question about it, either you don't understand a procedure you see or what they're talking about, you just come to JAMP's website and just click right here,
Okay.
It will open up your email and you can send this off. Ask a question, the clerk tells me she will answer. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a video explaining how a bill becomes law and a graphic that shows you the different steps. Which legislation I would like to see some work being done to, Jade? Noise Abatement Act. Now, if you want to talk to my MP, I go and say, MP, I know how it works,
Mm-hmm.
I know it starts here, so I have to carry it through and go down there. So I want you to start it for me. So if you understand the process, you feel a little more confident to go and say, listen, man, I want you to go to Parliament and fix this act for me. I can't sleep at night.
Okay.
This is just a link to all the different acts that Parliament will be working on for any given year.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll let you know what's coming up. And the last, these are what we call bills that we are tracking. So I won't take up too much time. I know you're going to run out, but the one that's live right now is what we call the Impeachment Act.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that if you're parliamentarian not working, you can remove him. We can't do that now. And government is saying we're going to pass such a bill. So when you click on that, it comes to a page that gives you the actual sample of that legislation.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, it says here, let me show you, let me go in a little bit closer. You see, it says here, view explanatory notes.
Right.
Sometimes when you look at the bill, Jade, we're not bright like you, we don't understand these things. So we want to make it simpler for ourselves in the office. You click on that and you get a copy, which make it easier and simpler. So instead of 25 pages of legal words, you get about 4 pages explaining the bill to you. Now you understand it, you can go back to JAMP's homepage and just click on what? Send a note to Parliament and make a comment about the bill. How that sound?
Sounds quite easy and streamlined to me.
It's a good place to start. Now, the Parliament can get more complicated than I just explained it. But what we're doing here, Jade, is we're starting with the basics. And we're working our way up to understanding more. So that's our legislative tracker. If you are looking, for instance, at which MP, usually an MP, and it takes an MP to trigger the start of a new legislation.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it was Mark Golding, the opposition leader. So suppose you read something and you need to contact him. You can scroll down, see Mark Golding, click on that, and what does it open up? Back to his page, click on his email, you contact him, you can tell him, I don't like the bill, or I like the bill in an MP, but this is what I think you need to add to it. Sound simple?
Yeah,
it
sounds great. It sounds great.
60 years, it has not been easy for citizens to do that. So JAMP is saying it can be made easier.
Wow. So thank you so much, Jeanette, for going through what are some really useful tools that I know I would be using as well. I see the producers in the studio nodding along. Yes, they are
I
useful.
hope we will take note that there are a couple more. This is the one that tracks the accountometer, all those scandals, and we want to know what happened to it afterwards. JAMP keeps at it until government fix it. We made the budget simpler for citizens to understand. If you put in cow, it tell you how much government going to spend on cows. And you can check out the rest. And any questions, Jade, please tell folks you can always contact us through the site. let us know how we can improve it, or how we can come and have a community meeting or at your office or at your youth club to talk about it some more.
Okay, so Jump is out there giving this information, you're saying?
Anytime, I'd be happy to do so in greater detail and to show you how it can work in a more beneficial way for you.
So I think one final thing I'd want to find out is if I were a citizen that wanted to be involved with JAMP, I wanted to help to contribute to these tools or to help you in your work. Is there an avenue for me to do that? Do you take interns? Do you take volunteers?
We take interns when we raise enough funds because our interns do need some support to even help us. But the best way to explain how you can is even just to come to this site. In all honesty, Jade, no tool will get funding if people are not using it. Makes sense? So the persons funding this organization actually need to be able to see that citizens are not just saying what most citizens say to me, Jeanette, this is a great idea. And then I come back in 6 months and say, have you looked at? Oh, well, no. So the best way to help JAMP is to use the tools. The more citizens use it, on each of these tools, you can leave a comment, you can leave a question. So the more that our funders see that it is adding value, is the best way that you can actually assist JAMP. That means we can continue to survive, and that means we can continue to say, yes, we're making some progress. So that is really the best way that you can assist JAMP. Follow us on social media, because the more people who do, it sends a message again to those who are helping us that people are interested in what we're providing.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeanette, for joining me today. And
it was a pleasure.
I think we really got some valuable information from that interview. And I hope that our listeners are planning to make their way to jampja.org and utilize the tools, get involved in the government accountability process. So thanks again, Jeanette. We are about...
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So we are about a minute away from the break. I just want you all to recall this is a call-in show. So if any of you would like to make comment on anything that we've discussed today, you can give us a call on the studio line at 876-676-4996, or you can send us a WhatsApp at 876-239-7583. Okay. We'll take the break.
The people's champion. Our mission is love. Our vision is love. Jamaicans for justice. The people's champion.
The Bridge 99 FM, keeping the Caribbean connected.
Hi, I'm Ronald Thwaites, and I'm the host of The Public Eye and The Open Mind on The Bridge 99 and Ira Jam in the tri-state area. This program will tell you the truth about life backyard. Fair, open talk. No gossip, no slander. We want to listen to your concerns. Also want to help you with your problems in JA. We at The Bridge rate you and affirm our oneness as citizens of this blessed land we love. So join us now on Wednesdays on The Bridge, crossing the waters, linking Jamaicans and Jamaican lovers everywhere.
Imagine your advertising dollar reaching your Caribbean and diaspora target beyond borders in a single rotation. It happens only on The Bridge. Call now to advertise 876-669-5000.
Harry's International Events presents Regina Bell live in concert at Hope Gardens in Kingston, Saturday, May 6th. See performances by Marcia Griffiths, Glenn Washington, George Nooks, and the Public Alert Band. Get tickets online at firstinlineja.com. Cocktails at 6 to 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. That's Regina Bell at Palm Drive in Hope Gardens, Saturday, May 6th. Call 876-426-8773.
Wow, wow! Yo, this is Baby Shama locked in on The Bridge. Can you hear me? This is my story. This is The Bridge story. Hey, wow, wow!
The people's champion. Our mission is love. Our vision is love. Jamaicans for justice.
Welcome back to Let's Start Justice. We were talking about government accountability today. We were joined in by Jeanette Calder from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal. I'm already familiar with the JAMP tools, but I still learned so much about how they operate and how they can be useful. So I'm hearing that we have a caller on the line. Hello? Hello? Seem to be having a technical issue here. Okay. So we heard about several tools that JAMP has developed to assist us as citizens in holding our government accountable. And I think one thing that Jeanette highlighted is the need for citizen participation in government accountability. And I agree that one of the issues that we would have seen is persons identify problems, identify their discontent, and have no idea what to do with it. So I think we have a caller now. Hi, Margaret. Yes, again, having some challenges with the studio line, it appears. Margaret, I hope that you'll be able to come back in before we wrap. Yes, you're here now?
Yes, I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let me commend all of you. My God, I didn't know we have something like this. Believe you me.
Yeah.
I just got into the last part, and it was very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So the host that was saying these things, I want to commend her and congratulate her.
Yes,
she and her team.
Yes, that was our guest, Miss Calder, from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal. And which one of the tools did you find most interesting, Margaret?
I find about how you know what your MP is doing in your constituency, and how to take a bill in the House, and how when a member of Parliament take a bill, you can call the number and talk to the Speaker of the House to get your what you said about it on there.
Yes. So you're saying you appreciate that avenue to be able to participate.
Oh yes, because it can't be we have so much corruption. Every time you hear corruption, taxpayer money go down the drain, overrun work, and we don't know what to do. Right? So I think what Ms. Calder need to do is come on most of the public media and let the entire Jamaica know.
Okay. So do you think that if more people were aware of it, they would actually use it?
Yes.
Do you plan to use it?
I am plan to use it because I live in Stony Hill and we have 295 street lights that has been working for 30 years.
Oh, wow. That sounds like you're in darkness, man.
And it's not one place, It's not one place I'm talking, I go around, take the number, I get a lot fit. But I'm not the member of Parliament. I'm not the councillor.
Absolutely.
And a couple of us as community person come together and say, let's call JPS. JPS come in, pick some, and that's it. We have broken main. We call the retired water commission. We have potholes. We have so much things that the councillor is responsible for, and you have things that the member of Parliament is responsible for. So we need to know how we get to them and report to this committee to say what they're not doing and what they're doing.
Wow, yes. All right. So thank you so much for calling, Margaret. I appreciate you calling in.
Yes. You hear that I was listening, though. You said that I was listening.
And I'm grateful. And what I'll advise is that you join us earlier next week, because we normally ask a trivia question and we do some giveaways when we get responses. So you can join us earlier next week so you can participate.
I'm going to tell my entire community and my neighboring community to get on board.
All right.
Okay? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I have to say I'm glad to have received that call, to know that, as Jeanette would have said as well, that the knowledge of the tools might just help persons to participate a lot easier. We already have Margaret on the floor ready to participate. And, I just want to remind us that Jamaicans for Justice is there. We are there to support you. So if it is that you're making your inquiries already and you feel as though you are not being heard, we are here to back you up. So you can give us a call, and we would be happy to assist you in your advocacy. So you see my producer giving me all the JPS dirty laundry. I will not be airing it out on air, sir. I will not be airing it out on air. But what I will say is that I am glad that we were able to empower citizens like Margaret to find the tools that are necessary to address the issues in their communities. Okay, so we are coming up to the end of the program. We'll be wrapping up shortly. And next week, I'm not sure what I'll be doing, but I know that I will be having a co-host with me. So it won't be just me keeping you all company for the hour. And I want to remind us that we can use the tools that we discussed at JAMP's website. So that is jampja.org. So for those of you who joined us a bit late and didn't hear where the website is, it is jampja.org, where you would be able to access tools that help you to understand the budget, understand the legislative process, to speak to and monitor your MP's activities, all of which are important to ensuring that we are able to have the kind of performance from our MPs that we expect, and from our government in general that we would expect. Do we have another caller? Okay, so we don't have another caller. What we do have is a winner for our trivia question. So our trivia question this week was, when was JAMP established? And the response for that is 2017, and our winner is Petrina. It's Petrina on Instagram. So our producer will reach out to you. You have won $500 credit. And that 2017 foundation, we were careful not to mention it during the show. I almost did, but it comes from actually a report that was done between some civil society organizations, going over the Auditor General's reports and recommendations out of those reports. And what those reports would have shown is that accountability is one of the places that we're failing, right? I mean, we know that we have an issue with corruption and our perception of corruption. It's something that we have spoken about already on the show. We did an entire episode on it as well. And even in our global index rankings, our perception of how corrupt our officials are is quite high. So I think one of the things that we should take away from today's program is that we can do something with that perception. And so now we know as individuals where we can go with that rage. We know that we can find those persons who are responsible for the issues that we're experiencing, or responsible for addressing those issues, and speak with them directly. And as I said, if it is that we are having challenges with getting a response, JFJ is here to assist you with that. So thank you so much for joining us. This was Let's Start Justice. I am Jade Williams, the Policy and Advocacy Specialist at Jamaicans for Justice, and we will be back next week at the same time on the Bridge 99.
We up, yeah. Free up, yeah.
Calling all bridge builders to the Bridge 99 FM, your global partners for outside broadcasts, connecting you from Jamaica to the world.
Where will we go?
From Kingston to Portmore, downtown, Spanish Town, Canada, USA, and as far as Dubai, we keep you connected across the 7 continents of the globe.
Call us at 876-630-3153 for information about partnering with the Bridge 99 FM.
That's 876-630-3153 to take your outside broadcasts to the world.
Justice for all. Justice under the law. Justice the people demand. Right to life and security. Oh, what a joy. Oh, what a peace. How great this country could be. Respecting your rights. Respecting human rights. What a wonderful nation this could be. Out of many we are one in a Jamaica. Make it a better place for the boys and girls. Created equal by the creator. For equal rights and opportunities. No to unlawful detention and police brutalization. Class, gender, race or religion. We not tolerate discrimination. Justice, justice for all. Justice under the law. Justice, Jamaica demand. Right to life, right to liberty. Justice, justice for all. Justice under the law. Justice, the people demand. Right to life and security. Oh, what a joy. Oh, what a peace. How great this country could be. Respecting your rights. Respecting human rights. What a wonderful nation this could be. If you live downtown in a Tibari garden, or if you live uptown a Cherry garden, yo, equal rights under the law. You hear? Equal rights under the law. My youth, remember the rights of the children. It's unlawful not to educate them. Don't ever do nothing to hurt them. Protect them from crime and violence. Justice, justice for all.
The Bridge 99 FM, the Caribbean's cultural capital.
Bridge 99 FM. Live terrestrially in your territory. And also online at thebridge99fm.com.
Oh, come, you and me, let's break free.